Plymouth at 9 degrees this morning, whilst Aberdeen sits at 11, the southwest colder than far north Scotland. Is your area about to face the wettest week of February so far? The Met Office has yellow warnings across 17 counties affecting 12 million people, and what S coming could change everything for your weekend. I'll tell you exactly when rain arrives in your city and the one detail in tomorrow's models that could flip this forecast. Drop your location in the comments now because tomorrow I'll give personalised forecasts based on where you are. Timings. London. Rain arrives this evening around 7, heaviest overnight, easing by tomorrow lunch. Manchester, drier start, but wet weather pushes in around 2 tomorrow afternoon. Birmingham, rain hits mid-morning, persistent through to evening. Glasgow, relatively dry today. Overnight brings heavier showers. Cardiff and Swansea already seeing it, continues this evening before brief respite. Belfast, rain arriving this afternoon, turning heavier evening. Here's what nobody's talking about. The current Atlantic depression isn't the main story. There's a second, deeper, low-developing west of Ireland, and depending on its track, parts of the UK could see something rather more significant. The Met Office model shows this low passing north of Scotland, keeping worst weather north and west. But the European model suggests different. The ECMWF has this tracking further south, potentially bringing much heavier rainfall to Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northwest England. This 50 to 80 kilometre track difference changes everything for Tuesday night into Wednesday. If the Met Office solution verifies, Tuesday night sees moderate rain across western areas, heaviest in Scottish Highlands with 40 to 60 millimetres, elsewhere 10 to 20 millimetres. But if the European model is correct, 70 to 100 millimetres across Cumbria, Lancashire, Western Scotland. That S rainfall causing localised flooding, particularly given how saturated the ground already is. Southampton, Brighton, Portsmouth, South Coast stays largely dry through 48 hours, but Wednesday evening is uncertain. Oxford and Cambridge, similar, mainly dry until midweek. Leeds and Sheffield, Tuesday looks wet, potentially very wet if that southern track comes off. Newcastle and Sunderland, you are on the margins. Bristol and Exeter, southwest continues its soggy spell. Over 130 millimetres already this month, 140% of February average, with another 40 to 50 millimetres coming. Plymouth, unusually cold this morning, but recovering to 12 degrees tomorrow. Midlands, Leicester, Nottingham, Coventry, outbreaks of rain tomorrow, persistent enough to make outdoor plans unpleasant, 11 to 13 degrees. Edinburgh, currently 10 degrees, climbing to 12 tomorrow, but here's your concern. It is temperature combined with strengthening winds. Tomorrow evening, gusts could reach 60 to 70 kilometres per hour across Lothians. That overnight rain one to be light drizzle. Proper heavy showers on strong southwesterly wind. Aberdeen and Inverness, relatively favourable today and tomorrow. Showers, some heavy but also sunny spells between, 9 to 11 degrees. Concerning period is Tuesday night into Wednesday. Northern Ireland, Belfast and Derry. This afternoon as rain turns heavy evening. Tomorrow brings sunshine and showers, blustery with gusts to 70 kilometres per hour. Tuesday, if that deeper low track south as European model suggests, you could see UK's heaviest rain Tuesday night. 80 to 120 millimetres, but if Met Office is right, much lighter. Check back tomorrow for clarity. Welsh Valleys, Merthyr Tydfil, Pontypridd, Rhondda. You know how quickly things change with heavy rain. Persistent rainfall ahead, continuous. Stream levels will rise. Bangor and North Wales coast, similar pattern, slightly lighter. Snowdonia Mountains see significant rainfall, particularly western slopes. Hill walking conditions grim. Low cloud, strong winds, heavy rain, Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey, southern zone largely missing the worst. Some rain, nothing concerning, 13 to 14 degrees. Kent and Sussex, Dover, Hastings, Eastbourne, mainly dry through Tuesday. Wednesday has question mark. Currently looks like rain stays west, but marginal calls can shift. Tomorrow S update will have more confidence. Blackpool and Lancashire coast, Tuesday could be rough. Heavy rain, high tides, strong onshore winds. Some coastal flooding possible, nothing major, but worth being aware of if you live right on the seafront. The promenade could see some wave overtopping during the highest tides around midday Tuesday. Inland Lancashire, Preston, Burnley, Blackburn, the same rainfall totals, but without the coastal complications. Liverpool and Merseyside, Tuesday afternoon into evening brings the heaviest rain. Could be quite intense for a few hours. 50 to 70 millimetres is currently looking likely. But again, that southern track scenario would increase those totals significantly. The Wirral Peninsula, Similar story, though areas facing the Irish Sea directly could see slightly higher totals due to onshore winds bringing additional moisture. The Pennines, the peaks, anywhere above about 300 metres, this is where orographic enhancement really kicks in. Those westerly winds pushing moist air over the high ground means rainfall totals amplified significantly. Some spots could see over 100 millimetres through the next 72 hours. The Dark Peak area, particularly western-facing slopes around Glossop and Chapel and Lafrith, could be particularly wet. If you are planning any hill walking in the Pennines, I strongly suggest postponing until later in the week. York, Scarborough, the North York Moors, you are in the rain shadow to some extent. Tuesday brings outbreaks of rain, yes, but totals lower than areas to your west. The coast stays breezy, temperatures around 10 to 12 degrees. Whitby and Robin Hood S Bay, you will see some of that coastal drizzle mixing in with the rain, nothing too dramatic. Actually, let me just check that again. Looking at the latest pressure charts, that Yorkshire rain shadow isn't as pronounced as I first thought. You will still see less than western areas, but don't expect it to stay dry. Probably 20 to 30 millimetres over the next few days rather than the 10 to 15 I was initially thinking. Hull and the East Riding, you are in a similar position, protected somewhat by the Pennines to your west. Stoke, Derby, you sit between heavier rain west and lighter amounts east. 30 to 40 millimetres through Wednesday. Scottish borders, Galashiels, Howick, Jedburgh, you on uncertainty zone edge for Tuesday night. Rain arrives Tuesday afternoon, but intensity depends on that low track. Hebrides, Western Isles, Monday through Wednesday brings waves of showers, prolonged rain spells, very strong winds, gusts exceeding 80 kilometres per hour, ferry disruptions likely, mild at 11 to 13 degrees, but feeling much colder in wind and rain. Orkney and Shetland, far enough north that main systems pass south. Still breezy, showers, but nothing like southern rainfall totals. 7 to 9 degrees, feeling like 4 or 5 in wind. Isle of Wight, Ryde, Sandown, Ventnor, you largely escape worst. Some rain, particularly Tuesday into Wednesday, but light to moderate. 10 to 20 millimetres total. Lincolnshire, Lincoln, Grimsby, Boston, similar to Yorkshire. Rain shadow effect keeps totals down, 20 to 30 millimetres. Norfolk and Suffolk, Norwich, Ipswich, Lowestoft, you driest zone. Monday and Tuesday mainly dry with odd light shower. Wednesday brings more rain, nothing too concerning. Here's the one thing that concerns me most about this forecast. It's not the rainfall amounts themselves, though some areas will see significant totals. It's the fact that we've already had such a wet January. According to the latest figures, England and Wales both recorded about 160% of average January rainfall. Scotland was closer to 130%. Northern Ireland saw around 150%. The ground is saturated. Rivers are already running high. Any significant additional rainfall has nowhere to go. That is why these model differences matter so much. The Met Office scenario is manageable. We've handled similar rainfall totals before without major issues. The European scenario, particularly for northwest England and western Scotland, is concerning. Not catastrophic, I am not being alarmist, but concerning enough that anyone in those areas should stay updated through tomorrow and Tuesday. The jet stream position is key here. Currently, it is amplified, creating these waves in the atmospheric flow. Those waves generate areas of low pressure at the surface. Where exactly they develop and track depends on subtle differences in the jet stream position. A shift of just 50 kilometres in the jet changes where the heaviest rain falls by potentially 150 kilometres at the surface. Right, let's talk about what happens after Wednesday, because there's actually a bit of hope on the horizon. Thursday into Friday, high pressure tries to build from the southwest. Now, I say tries because there's still an active Atlantic, and high pressure in February over the UK can be rather stubborn about actually bringing sunshine. We could end up with anticyclonic gloom. But the models are generally suggesting some improvement. Not wall-to-wall sunshine, let's be realistic, but a drier picture. London and the southeast, Thursday looks mainly dry, with some brighter spells possible. Manchester and Liverpool, drier by Friday. Glasgow and Edinburgh, dry interludes between showers Thursday and Friday. Temperature-wise, once this current Atlantic flow backs off, we are looking at a slight drop. Wednesday, we are mainly 11 to 14 degrees across the UK. By Friday, more like 8 to 12 degrees. Nothing dramatic, still above average for early February, but noticeably fresher, particularly overnight when temperatures could dip to around 3 to 5 degrees in rural areas. The weekend, and I know you want to hear about this, currently looks unsettled again. Another Atlantic system approaches, but it's too far out to have any real confidence. The GFS model shows Saturday wet across most areas. The European model keeps it mainly dry until Sunday. The Met Office ensemble shows a range of possibilities. This is exactly why you need to come back tomorrow, because the weekend forecast will sharpen up considerably over the next 24 hours. One location that could see something unexpected is Cornwall, particularly the far southwest around Penzance and Land's End. There's a signal in some of the model runs for Tuesday night that shows this area potentially clipped by the southern edge of that deeper low, which could bring a brief spell of very intense rain, possibly 30 to 40 millimeters in just 3 to 4 hours. It is not the most likely scenario, probability maybe 20 to 30%, but it's there in the data. Worth monitoring if you're in that area. For the North Cornwall coast, Newquay, Padstow, Bude, you are looking at more standard Atlantic rainfall. Still wet, still blustery, but not the intensity that the far southwest might see. Let me address something I am seeing in the comments. Several of you are asking about snow. When might we see some proper winter weather? The honest answer is the pattern doesn't really support it over the next 7 to 10 days. We in a mild Atlantic-dominated regime. For snow, particularly at low levels, we need either cold air from the east, a beast from the east scenario, or cold air from the north. Neither is showing up in the medium range forecasts. Could it change later in February? Possibly. There are some very tentative signals in the extended outlooks for a pattern shift around the middle of the month, but we are talking 15 to 20 days out. That is crystal ball territory. The models change their minds daily at that range. I know this isn't ideal for those who enjoy winter sports. Unfortunately for the ski centres in Scotland, the Cairngorms, Glencoe, Nevis Range, rain or wet snow at all but the highest elevations. Actually, I should be more precise about that Scottish mountain snow. Above about 900 to 1,000 metres, there will be snow accumulation, particularly Monday night into Tuesday, could be 10 to 20 centimetres. Below that elevation, it's marginal, between 600 and 900 metres, snow mixing with rain, not settling much. Below 600 metres, pretty much all rain. Now, before we wrap up, I want to mention the model uncertainty I've been discussing. Some might wonder why I don't just tell you definitively what is happening. The reality is, meteorology at 3 to 4 days out still has limitations. We're incredibly good at predicting broad patterns that a low pressure system is coming, bringing rain and wind. But precise track, exact rainfall totals at specific locations, those remain uncertain until closer. This is why daily updates matter. Each new model run ingests new observational data from weather stations, ships, aircraft, satellites. Each run refines the forecast. What looks uncertain today often becomes clear tomorrow. At 3 minutes, I want to remind you, drop your city or county in comments. Tomorrow's forecast will include personalised outlooks for areas you've mentioned. Be specific. Don't just say Northwest England, tell me Preston or Kendal or Whitehaven. Those locations can have quite different weather despite being relatively close. North Channel between Northern Ireland and Scotland, if you are on ferries, Cairnryan to Larne route, conditions deteriorate this evening and remain rough through Tuesday. Strong southwest winds, rough seas. Sailings may be disrupted. Irish sea crossings. Liverpool to Dublin, Holyhead to Dublin, similar. Tuesday looks particularly unpleasant. English Channel, Dover to Calais, actually not too bad Monday and Tuesday. Some rain, yes, but winds staying moderate. Wednesday more questionable depending on how that system develops. Bringing this all together, the main takeaway is this. The next 72 hours bring widespread rain across the UK. The heaviest and most persistent rain affects western areas, particularly Western Scotland, Northwest England, Wales and Southwest England. Eastern areas see less, but still some rain at times. The key uncertainty is Tuesday night into Wednesday, when model disagreements about low pressure tracking create a range of possible outcomes from manageable to concerning for certain regions. We'll have much better clarity tomorrow once we see the overnight model runs. For tomorrow's forecast specifically, I am going to have that model comparison update you really need. The overnight model runs will be crucial. I'll break down exactly which areas face the highest risk if the European model is correct, and what you can expect if the Met Office solution verifies. Plus, I'll have that weekend forecast with much more confidence than I can offer today. I'll also be looking at the longer range outlook into the middle of February. The timing for tomorrow's video will be around 9:00 in the morning, straight after I've analysed the overnight models. That gives you the most up-to-date information before the weather deteriorates Tuesday afternoon and evening. It's crucial timing because decisions about travel, outdoor activities, even just whether to clear your gutters, might depend on which scenario unfolds. I genuinely appreciate all of you watching these forecasts and engaging in the comments. It is not just about putting information out there, it is about having a conversation about weather that affects all of us. Your comments about local conditions help me understand what is actually happening on the ground versus what the models show. That real-world feedback is genuinely valuable for refining forecasts. Do stay safe over the next few days, particularly if you are in flood-prone areas or planning travel through regions expecting heavy rain. Keep an eye on Met Office warnings, which can be updated at short notice if the situation evolves. Check your local council websites for any flood alerts specific to your area. And obviously check back tomorrow for that crucial update on Tuesday night's uncertainty. I'll be here at 9 in the morning with all the latest information. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll